Hello, everyone. Just one second while I get situated. All right. Let's see. We're just waiting for Jenna. And
hello, friend.
Oh, hi.
Hi. I am so excited that we get to chat today. For everyone that's just jumping on, I'm Jenna Kutcher. This is my girl, Brenda Huckabee, and the sweetest baby, Sloane. Oh my goodness. Oh, we are so excited. So today we're going to be talking all about motherhood, and we are not experts in this field by any means, but we are both moms. And Brenna, obviously, just welcomed a sweet little baby, and then she has Lila. Brenna, today I was thinking about how a year ago, almost to the day, we were in California together with our moms and our girls, and like, how crazy is that?
I know. I wish we were all together, but this is
Will
just as
do.
good.
This
At
will be
least,
so
yes.
fun. Oh my goodness. I
Yes.
can't wait. Well, everyone say hello that's jumping on so that we can see that you guys are on here. And I think that it's so important to just kick off this conversation. And for me, Mother's Day has held so many different emotions throughout the years. I'm so fortunate to have an amazing mom. But when we started to try to grow our family, we struggled with 2 miscarriages. And so Mother's Day was really, really hard. And so I think it's just so important before we dive into any conversation that I recognize that this holiday has so many different layers to it, regardless of what your situation is. There can be a lot of emotion tied into holidays, especially like Mother's Day. And so I just want to say we're lifting all of you up, whether you're growing your family, struggling to grow your family, you've lost a child, you have a hard relationship with your mom, whatever that looks like. The reason why we're coming together is just to spend some time in community today. And so we're so, so excited. So Brenna, I want to know, how has motherhood changed for you since you're required to stay at home? Because you kind of be on maternity leave right now in a sense of the form.
Yeah. So, I have been home with my kiddos for the last 7 months, it feels like. But it's a lot different because what we would do to like kill time is we go to the library and the playground and meet up with other friends. And so not having that to like eat up time during the day and burn energy has been very challenging. So we just had to get creative with what we have at home, and we just get in our yard. We go outside and I make her run around and we do as many activities as we can, but it's definitely different and harder at home.
Are you introverted or extroverted?
I am very introverted.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm okay.
Yeah. I feel like I've been training my whole life for this, where I'm like, oh man, I can stay home. But definitely with a kid, it totally changes things, because it's like, you're sharing the same walls. She's so used to being around people. Today we were out for a walk and there was neighbors outside and she started running towards them, and you're like, no. And I'm like, this breaks my heart, because the world that we're in just has shifted so much, and communicating that to children is like devastating, and it's so confusing. So I agree. I feel like we have created this rhythm. Does anyone else feel like it's Groundhog's Day? Like every day is the same, and every day we do the same things. We go on a walk at the same time, we walk the same 3 miles, and like, I love routine, but then sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, I've done this day 40, 50 days in a row.
Yes.
It's so crazy. Okay, I want to know for you, I kind of chuckle at this question, so I'm so excited to ask it to you, but how important is me time, and how the heck do you make time for it, especially with 2?
Yeah, so going back to the whole introverted thing, like I am totally fine being at home, but like you said, we're all together. So even though I'm at home and away from people, I don't have my space. Like I don't have that moment where when Lila was at school, I had, a few hours that I could just get things done by myself, and I don't have that now. And so I take extremely long baths. Like I don't even care. I sit in my bathtub.
I love it.
And that is like, yes, that is like my me time, my recharge. Like I need it. Tristan, my husband, he's like, all right, it's bath time. I got the kids, like go. And I'm like, thank you. So
that's awesome.
It's keeping me sane.
Yes. I kind of laugh because I took a shower this morning, and usually I just take Coco in the shower with me because it's just easier. Like, we just all get clean at once. And today I was like, I'm going to take a shower alone. And it felt like a luxury. And I have this little speaker, and I was listening to a podcast, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like by myself right now. I can shave my legs. This is amazing.
It's the best.
It really is. I know it is a struggle. And I think too, I've been struggling, like, if we're being totally transparent, just I feel like I'm constantly shifting from like CEO to mom to CEO to mom, and I don't really get a moment to catch my breath. And so, like you said, like, I don't really get any alone time. I feel like my alone time is like from the walk from my office to the house. And and so it's definitely been a struggle to like switch my brain really quickly to be like, I was just thinking really like about my business, and now all of a sudden I'm like thinking about fruit snacks. And like, how do you transition your brain that way? I don't know if any of you guys that are watching have little ones, or you're running a business, or you're trying to work from home. It's so hard to kind of switch roles at the drop of a hat. I feel like before I was a mom, I could very easily like have time to like switch from like entrepreneur to wife, and now it's like snap change, snap change, snap change, and that's hard.
Yeah, no, it's funny that you say that. As going from athlete to mother, when I'm training and traveling, I have had to really train myself and focus. Like, when I'm at home, and this is how it used to be because now we're at home all the time, but when I'm at home, I'm mom. And whenever I'm in the gym or traveling, like, I'm athlete. And having to exactly switch while you're in the same spot is very difficult and different and challenging.
It's exhausting, isn't it?
It is. I don't even know what I'm wearing most of the time.
Like, as soon as I get in the zone, someone needs me. Like, I 100% agree. I think that so many of us can relate right now. And if you're blessed enough to be able to work from home, it is so hard to really have to continue to play multiple roles under the same roof. I think that a lot of times people that work from home paint this like really picturesque reality, when in reality it's hard to work and sleep and create and be creative all in the same space. And then you throw kids in there, and it's like, it's a whole new ball game.
It is. So like yesterday, I just got back into the rhythm of getting into my athlete zone. I plan on competing again. And so I was like, oh, I'm going to do my workout because I have to do that every day. And right when I get started, a little baby starts crying. Yeah. So I picked her up and I did my workout holding her. I was like, if I can't do it by myself, exactly. I was like, you're going to work out with me.
Yes. I love that. And like that. When I hear about, the next question is about balancing. And I always say that like balance doesn't exist. For me, it looks like work-life integration. Like, everything in my life has to integrate together, and there's not necessarily going to be like perfectly defined times for each activity. And something that made me smile when I was thinking about this was when we went to schedule our live, Ari had been like, oh, let's do this time. And I was like, honestly, can we do it during nap time? Because I don't want to miss any time with my daughter. And so I've gotten really good at like communicating, here's what I need. And I think that that is like the most critical part of being a working mom or an athlete mom. Like, any type of mom is just like getting comfortable with saying, here's what I need, here's what's going to work best for me and my family. Someone texted me today something about work, and I was like, hey, I'm with my family right now. I'll get back to you on Monday. If you send me an email, I'd be so happy to help you. But right now is like straight family time. And so boundaries are so important, and they're so hard, especially in this season where it feels like everything is melting together.
Yeah.
No, exactly. What do you think about balance, especially with a little one?
We don't balance. We roll. We just roll with it.
Yes. You have to be more resilient and adaptable than like focused on balance. And I think that a lot of times too, the narrative that's out there for anyone to try to create balance almost puts pressure on us to feel like we have to figure out this perfect middle. And I really think that there are just going to be different seasons where you're focused on different things. Like right now, like you're finally coming out of that like motherhood cocoon of like newborn life, and probably hopefully starting to feel a little bit more like yourself. But
Mm-hmm.
I feel like every season you're in, you have to be focused on something, and that thing is going to get more of your attention, more of your energy, and that's not a good or a bad thing. But balance, I don't know if I've ever felt fully balanced, you know?
No, exactly. And that's something, I mean, I always say like you pick and choose your sacrifices. And like sometimes my sacrifices work at that moment
Yep.
or sport
Yeah.
so that I could be with my kiddos. And sometimes my time with my kids is my sacrifice so that I could succeed in my sport. And
Yeah.
you just, it's season, right? Like whatever,
Yes.
wherever you are, you know, I'm about
Yes.
to roll into athlete hat because
Yeah.
as we get closer to snowboard season and, you know, I sacrifice time with my kiddos during that time. But while I'm home, I just am going to soak it all in so that whenever it's time to transition into sport and transition into work and being away, I can say that I had all of that home time, all of that presence with my kiddos. That's what
Yeah,
helps
I
me at
love
least,
that.
you know?
It's so important. And that's this year, like I try to pick like a mantra each year, like a word that I cling to. And this year my word was here, like presence. And it was
Yeah.
more like if I'm working, I want to like firmly plant my feet on the ground and be all in on work. And if I'm momming, I don't want to be thinking about work. I don't want to be wishing I was working. I want to be all in on being a mom. And I've gotten into this practice, and maybe it would help people that are watching, but before I enter a room, I like pause for a second and like place myself in that scene. And I'm like, how do I want to show up right now? Because I feel like when we're constantly going back and forth, we're never fully present in any moment because we're thinking about the things that we're not doing. And so I've been trying, like, before I walk through a door, I've been trying to like pause and be like, okay, who am I supposed to be right now? Who am I best serving? Is it my audience? Is it my child? Is it my husband? Is it my family? Like, what does this look like? And it just having that like 1 second of like, where am I right now and what's happening? It's helped me to totally like stop being like on a walk with my family and thinking about work, or like working and thinking about my family. Cause I'm like, that's like the reality of being a working mom, you know?
Exactly. And I love that, especially like for those of us that are working at home who may not have an office, you know, like your office may be your living room and your living room is also your family time. I love that of like taking a moment and like, I'm like, okay, who am I in this moment? Am I mom or am I working? And diving
And it's
into
almost
that.
like I feel like we're always in this identity crisis. Like I feel like we're constantly like, who am I right now? And like, which version of me am I? And so I always feel like it's so important, like, put your feet on the ground right now. Here's where I am. Here's what I'm doing. And I don't know about you, but like I've become so much more efficient as a mom because I'm like, okay, I have an hour and a half during nap time, or I have 3 hours during nap time, or whatever that nap time looks like. And so you're like, wow, I am like, I can get anything done in a nap time.
I love that. I love that. Exactly.
Okay, so I want to know, so now that I know your bath secret, are there any like secret hacks with your bath rituals? Because my family loves taking baths. We used to like read books in the bath. I mean, like we like lived in the bathtub. So any tips for de-stressing?
No, I love that, first of all. Like baths are like my jam.
They are.
Baths, bombs. Like
yes.
I love anything that smells good. I don't read in the bathtub. I social media in the bathtub. I'm gonna be honest. Like that, I just consume, and because it just like it turns my brain off. I feel like I can catch up because I try not during the day to just be on my phone consuming. If I during the day, like I either want to be with my family or creating, and so at night I sit there and I consume, de-stress. And it's fine.
I love that. I love that.
Yes.
I think for me, de-stressing these days looks like going on really long walks. Like I have never walked more in my life. Even today, I like just kept walking. We got a great stroller, and I'm like, we put a little speaker on our stroller and we listen. Usually it's a Moana soundtrack. I know every word, but for me, it's like I need to be moving my body and I need to like get fresh air. And when I'm working behind a computer all day, those are two things that are not happening. And so it's like 5:15 every night. We go on a long walk. We listen to Moana. We talk, and like that's like the only way that I've really been able to distress. And reading, I love to read. Like I like to read for fun. So many people think that I read like boring business books. I cannot read a business book. They put me to sleep. So I've been doing like book clubs with my mom and like friends, which is so fun. So I love that.
I love that. I love that. Actually, so both of those things are two things that I've been doing more of. I haven't been like reading, I've been listening to audiobooks.
Ooh,
And
good.
yeah. And I found like I can, so like reading, it's really hard because I feel like I'm in one space and there's so much that I want to do during the day.
Yeah.
You know, whether I'm like hanging out with Lila or Sloane or watching her jump on the trampoline, whatever. And an audiobook, I can listen to it while also like being outside or walking. I have walked more in my amputee life in this last few months than I have ever.
I love that. You go, girl. Okay, well, you can answer any questions. I have a question for you before we dive into any questions that people might have. But I want to know, how did your relationship with your body change with pregnancy and postpartum? I think that a lot of times, especially working with Aerie, people are just really curious, like, where does your confidence come from? And like, how did that relationship shift as you entered motherhood and then re-entered motherhood again? Like, what did that look like for you?
Oh, I love that. So with Lila, honestly, pregnancy was very hard. Watching my body grow and change, because I put a lot of my identity into my body as an athlete.
Yeah.
And I feel like whenever my body shifts and changes, not only does like how I feel like society views me changes, but I also feel like what I can give as an athlete later changes. And so I had a really hard time with my body image with Lila. And I had to really rebuild that over the last 3 years of just learning that my body is a tool. Like, my body does so much, and my body is the least interesting part about me. Like, I have so much more to give than what my body's like. And so whenever I got pregnant with Sloane, all of that investment into self-love and self-acceptance that I had given, I embraced it. I embraced pregnancy. But I will be honest, postpartum was just as hard with Sloane as it was for Lila, because I feel like we really embrace pregnant bodies. We love them. We're like showing them, but postpartum bodies, you don't see very much of. And when I left the hospital with Lila, I felt like my body had slimmed down a lot. I had a C-section, so I don't know if that helped. When I left the hospital with Sloane after a vaginal, I looked very pregnant still. And it was really hard. It's still kind of hard sometimes looking at my body because I don't recognize it. And so just going back to that, my body is a tool. My body created life. My body is nourishing. My body does those things, but my body is not me. Really helps, I guess. Does that make sense?
I love that. Oh, 100%. I think that was so interesting. We both done Aerie photo shoots while pregnant. And I know for me, so much of my body image issues and just the way I feel about my body stemmed around fertility and miscarriage and pregnancy, and like feeling like a failure and doubting my body and questioning, like, can I do the one thing I'm supposed to be able to do? And for me, like, it was such a miracle when I was like finally like fully pregnant, but I never trusted my body fully, where I was like, this baby's going to be healthy. Until I saw her like in my arms, I really struggled with like believing like this is our time. And I know for a lot of women that have had loss, like, you really don't trust your body anymore, which is such an awful feeling. But I think too, so much of the confidence piece has nothing to do with our body, and has more to do with the way that we show up in life, in work, in relationships. And the body is just like, it's just our vehicle through this life, right? Like, there's nothing
exactly
more. I call it our meat suit. Like, we have sweet meat suits and they change, you know? But
exactly,
one of those things, I don't know if you get asked that a lot, like, but I always get asked, like, where does your confidence come from? And I think it's just knowing what we're able to do, which is so cool.
Yes, I always say that.
Yeah.
It's what we're capable of.
I want to know, what was your experience like on the Aerie shoot when you were pregnant, and just like navigating that new season with all the role models there? Like, what was that like for you?
I loved it. You know, because with Aerie, you know, you're embracing your body, you're embracing who you are. And, you know, not all companies, I feel like, always embrace every season of a woman, and one season of a woman is pregnancy and postpartum, and showing that. And everyone is so confident and encouraging. And honestly, it wasn't it wasn't weird. I kind of thought it might have been a little weird. It wasn't weird. It was beautiful and magical. And I will cherish those pictures. I love them so much.
Forever. I know I was lucky enough to shoot with Ari when I was like 10 weeks pregnant, so just tiny bit pregnant, 20 weeks pregnant, and then like 35 weeks pregnant. I was like, I have the best maternity photos ever.
Yes.
Like, the whole thing. And I also just love, I remember when we were trying again for the third time, I remember getting on a phone call with the Aerie team and being like, you know, like, I don't know if you want to work with me because my goal is to like have a baby and like that's my number one priority right now. And they were like, we want you in any season, in any form, in any way. Like, and it was just so beautiful to be reminded, because I think for women that have careers, especially like, look at what you do as an athlete. We are forced to make such challenging decisions with our careers based on our aspirations to become a mom. And like, when you look at it, I think of it as like a 2-year time chunk where you're pregnant, you're nursing, you're healing, you're working on strength, you're coming home to your body. And for women to have to make that decision in alignment with their aspirational career goals, I don't know if anyone's watching has ever felt that pressure of like having to make really big life decisions based around, do I want to be a mom? What is that going to look like? How is it going to change my other goals in life? And so I think that we have to navigate like harder things than maybe men do. Not that men don't navigate hard things, but like those decisions. What was it like for you when you decided that like we want to continue growing our family?
Yeah, I mean, it's scary, right? There's never a right time is kind of what we keep telling ourselves. Like, you know, you're going to give up, like you said, 2 years. You know, you're going to give up time of what you're doing in order to have a family that you want. And for us, it was worth it. We were like, you know what? I'm strong. I have support. Like, we've got this. Yeah. Let's do it. And we'll recover and we'll get there. And honestly, I have no idea what, you know, my future in sports going to be like this next year and the next 2 years, but we're going to show up, as you say, and we're going to give it our all and see what happens, because that's kind of all you can do. You know, you pick and choose what you want. And we wanted a bigger family. We wanted Lila to have a sibling. And that's more important to me than any gold medal, you know?
Yes. I love that. I see my mom and Manuela are on here. Hi, guys. Do you guys have any questions? Feel free to pop them in for us. Brenna, I was just laughing. My mom probably remembers this too, but when we were together and I was nursing Conley and Lila was like, what are you doing? And she was like looking under the blanket. And I was like, Brenna, is it okay if I explain this to her? It was so funny because it was just, you know, she's just in that like soaking up everything as a sponge phase. I'm like, motherhood is like figuring out how to explain very complex things to like little humans that are way smarter than we think.
They're so smart, especially right now, trying to just like teach them why we can't go to the park or why we can't see our neighbor. It's so hard.
Yeah, it's very different. What has been like the highlight? Like when you look back at this season and this time and just everything that's going on, what do you like hope that you'll remember the most?
So traveling is always really hard for me. I'm always wishing that I were home when I'm traveling, and normally I would be traveling right now. Yeah. And I think just like looking back and embracing the time at home. Yeah. Because like I said before, like when it's time to pick and choose your priorities and your sacrifices, you know, whenever it is time to travel again, I want to look back on this time and be like, I'm so thankful I had the opportunity to stay home. I saw all those milestones. I got to get all the kisses, all the snuggles, and it just makes it a little easier to work and easier to travel later. And that's what I'm looking forward to. What about you?
I love that. I know Manuela literally asked the same question right when I said it, but I agree. I was talking to friends the other day and I had this really weird moment where I was like slightly sad at thinking like when this all ends, because I feel like nowadays there's so much pressure on the internet. Like you can log in and people are like, go out, learn a new thing, become a new human, lose 20 pounds, come out of quarantine, look and fly. And then the other side of the message is like, chill, take care of yourself, your mental health matters. And it's like the world is almost divided on like what you should be doing in this time. And honestly, I just think you should be doing whatever you feel like you're showing up the best that you can. And it was weird because I was like thinking, I'm like, am I going to be sad when this is over because I didn't feel like I did enough, which is such a weird thought. I told my girlfriends this and we were all on FaceTime. They're like, Jenna, like you're running a company, you're keeping your team like employed, like, you know, but I just feel like there's some messaging out there now where it's like, I should like come out of this like fluent in Spanish and like, no, you know, like all these things. And I'm like, I'm just surviving right now and like doing my best to savor like this extra time where we're just like almost in this little like cocoon. And just like you, I feel like for the last 8-9 years, I've been flying once a month at least. And so it's kind of nice to like have no plans and to just be like, hey, like I have been home and like in one place and just like enjoying this world so much more than when you're constantly like packing and unpacking and packing and unpacking, which is so different. So
agreed.
It's so crazy. Okay, so how are you going to celebrate tomorrow? What's on your docket? What's your plan? Do you have a plan? What do you do?
I don't have a plan. I'm hoping Tristan has a plan. That's all I'm saying.
I love that. I love that. I know. I'm like, I'm sure it'll be just like every other day. I had a birthday over quarantine and it was like, just like every other day.
Yeah. You went on your walk.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. I know. It's all good though. It's like, it's kind of nice to be able to have a routine, you know? It's so funny. What do you most do when like the world opens back up?
TJ Maxx. Can I say that? Just kidding. I just want to go shopping. I want to go look at stuff.
Oh my goodness. I love it
like,
so
I just
much.
want to go look and feel things.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to go feel things.
Isn't that weird? I know. Internet shopping is not the same. That's for sure.
No.
I'm like
and I
so
wanna,
excited to like have my entire family like at one table. Like, have you noticed? I don't know if anyone watching has noticed this either, but like when I'm watching TV nowadays and people are like hugging and like sharing drinks, I'm like, that's not 6 feet. Like my like instinct is like, run, go the other way. It's like, no, like I can't wait to hug people. I'm so excited to hug people.
Yes, exactly. And just like I said, I'm introverted, but like I just want to go talk to people, and like FaceTime's just not cutting it.
Yeah.
It's really not. I want to like have conversations, see people and smell things. Like, I don't know, I'm kind of weird, but like I just want to be in a different environment, I guess. And like,
oh,
you know,
I want to shout out to Nick Gurr, who has cancer. He loves our content. So shout out to you, Nick. I hope that you're hanging in there in this crazy season. Me and Brenna are cheering you on.
Yes.
Okay, so I want to know when this live ends, what's your plans for your Saturday afternoon? I hope you have something good planned.
I don't. I'm going to go outside. We actually, right before this, we were outside and we saw a moose. There was a moose in our yard.
What?
Well, yeah, I tried to get a picture.
Drew really wants to see a moose so bad.
Okay, I did get a picture. It's really blurry, but yeah, okay. So we're just going to go outside and enjoy the day.
I will 100% take that. Conley's sleeping and I'm reading a book and my mom and I are doing our book club and my mom read the whole book last night. So now I feel pressure to go catch up. So I really need to really get into this book while Conley naps, and I'll probably nap myself. I don't get to nap during the week, but on the weekends, it's like go time. You know, when they say sleep when the baby sleeps, I don't feel like that's a real thing until you're like so tired, you just fall asleep when the baby's sleeping.
Yeah. Enjoy those naps while you have them. That's all I've got to say.
What does it feel like when both girls are sleeping at the same time? Like you just won the lottery?
Yes, and it doesn't happen very often, but when it does, Tristan and I will just sit there and watch endless amounts of TV. I don't even watch TV. I don't even like TV, but we just watch TV.
Oh my gosh. Okay, my last question for you, because I have to know, what area items have you been like living in? Because I was like getting dressed today and I'm like, my scrunchie, my socks, like literally everything is airy. So what is your go-to?
Same. I am in my mom uniform right now, which is my airy sweatsuit.
Yes. Those sweatsuits are life-giving.
Yes. And they're cute. You know, they match, so you feel put together.
Yes. I know. That's what Drew the other day, he was like, can you please take that that off so I can wash it. And I was like, you're probably right. Like, but I know. I love the t-shirts too. Like, I have been obsessed with the boyfriend tees just because they're so lightweight.
Yes.
Where I'm like, okay, I can do life in this. And I was like laughing because I always have like stains and stuff on my clothes from kids, you know. So
Babies.
what a world. Okay, where can everybody go and connect with you and find you and follow along with your motherhood journey?
Yeah, on my Instagram, it is pinned at the top at Bren_Hucks. I do YouTube and TikToks and Twitter and all of that stuff.
Oh my gosh, you go, girl. I don't even know this whole TikTok thing. I feel like I'm too old for it. My ship has sailed. But I'm over at Jenna Kutcher and Gold Digger Podcast. And I've got to get you on the podcast too, because then I can pick your brain even more, which is going to be epic.
I would love that.
Oh, well, happy Mother's Day to you, and happy Mother's Day to everyone out there celebrating tomorrow, whether you are a mom or you're celebrating your mom or you have a motherhood figure in your life. We hope that you have the best day ever and relax. And if you're looking at self-care like Miss Brenna Huckabee does, maybe take a very long bath and relax. Pour yourself some wine.
Yes.
That wouldn't be a bad idea.
That's an awesome idea. Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
You too.
Mwah. Give that baby a kiss for me.
I will. You too.
I'll see you
Bye.
soon.